using qualitative graphs to describe situations. A qualitative graph is a graph done without scaling on the axis. In this qualitative graph, we are looking at the retail price of Air Jordan shoes in the years since 1985 to present. Our axis T represents time, and our axis P represents the price. Our line moves up from left to right. So that tells us the prices increase steadily over time. Our graph forms a straight line, so we can say that the graph is linear. In this example, the deer population in a forest is described during the years between 2010 and present. We're going to let P be the deer population in the forest and T be the number of years since 2010. We want to know which graph matches the scenario where the population increases steadily. Starting with graph A, you see we have a straight line. So what that tells us is that there's been no change in the population since 2010. In graph B, our line goes down, then it goes up. So that tells us that the population decreased steadily, then it increased steadily. In graph C, our population went up from left to right, so that means it increased steadily. Our line is going down from left to right for D, so that tells us the population decreased steadily. So that means our answer is C. Independent and dependent variables. Going back to our graph of the sale of Air Jordan shoes since 1985 to present, we could see that the price of the shoes depends on what year it was sold. If a pair of shoes was sold in 2010, that's going to cost more than a pair of shoes sold in 1985. So T is the independent variable and P is the dependent variable. In this example, we want to identify the independent variable and the dependent variable. We want to let C be the total cost in dollars of M pencils. How much we pay is going to depend on how many pencils we buy. So the independent variable is the number of pencils. The dependent variable is the total cost. When graphing independent and dependent variables, your independent variable is always your horizontal axis, or your blue line, your x-axis. The dependent variable is the vertical axis, the red line, which is your y-axis. Another important thing to know about our graph is where does the curve or line cross the axis. For our curve, the blue dot is our a-intercept. That's where our curve crosses the a-axis. It does not cross the t-axis. For the line, our blue dot is our t-intercept, where it crosses the t-axis. And the red dot is the w-intercept, where it crosses the w-axis. If the curve goes up from left to right, then your curve is increasing. If the curve goes down from left to right, then your curve is decreasing. Using qualitative graphs to describe situations, it allows us to do a sketch of our data to get an idea of how our independent and dependent variables relate to each other. If your graph goes up from left to right, you have an increasing curve or line. If it goes down from left to right, you have a decreasing curve or line.